This is our garden renovation project, and I'm going to show you how I turn this into this. Keep watching and enjoy the show. This project is very dear to me because this is in fact my house and my garden, so you're getting a little sneaky peeky into my private life here. So we bought this house last August 2023, and it is a new build, shared ownership. It was the only way we could get on the ladder, unfortunately, but it's a lovely house in a lovely area. I'm not going to tell you where, I don't want any stalkers. But the one bad thing about it is this garden here. This project has been a long time coming, so I haven't bothered mowing it because what is the point? It's all coming up. Literally all of this will be gone. If you look at the gradient of the fence at the back and the height difference between this one and that one, the garden has a nice little flat bit here and then drops down here. You can also see that it goes this way and drops down here as well. You need to be a mountain goat to walk along this. I spoke to the site manager and he informed me that this was one of the better gardens. So I hate to think what everybody else's garden's like. The plan for this is as follows. Firstly, we're obviously going to dig all this out and level it down to this level here. I'm going to have a patio across this area, and then it's going to run up the side here, and then there's going to be another patio area at the back there. In the know, people will realise is that I'm going to need to put a retaining wall across here and across the back there. Because this ground is higher, the neighbours' gardens are also this height. So if I just dig right down here, the chances are the concrete for these posts is going to be exposed and it will compromise this fence and that fence, and the last thing I want to do is have any falling over or anything like that. So I'm going to build a sleeper wall which is going to go up here and across here out of railway sleepers, and then what that will do then is enable me to keep this height across here and across here with a small section, about 400 mil or so of earth left in, and then this will all be reinforced to make sure nothing ever slips away. I'm also obviously going to have to put drainage in there as well to make sure that any groundwater will easily get away and doesn't rot the back of the sleepers. At the back here, I'm going to have a pergola and a shed. So this is still a bit of a design at the minute, but there's going to be a seating area on this side with a pergola roof, well, with a pergola effectively, and then a shed at the other half. Going to put a clear polycarbonate roof on it, and then the actual design of the shed is still in the works, but I've got a pretty good idea of what I'm going to do. So yeah, we're going to put porcelain tiles down here all the way around to there, and then there'll obviously be a concrete base for my shed going in there, drainage where I need it, because the last thing I want is surface water. This amazing patio that we've got here holds a lot of water, and this is a bit of drainage that they've nicely put in for us, so I'm going to make sure there's plenty of extra drainage in here as well. One thing to note, this is not an official A&E project, so there's going to be family and friends helping. It's not going to be high-vis jackets and steel toe cap boots. This is my house, so it's going to be totally different from working on a site. So please bear that in mind when you watch this. I don't want to see in the comments, where's your steel toe caps, where's your goggles, blah, 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 because this is going to be a family and friends event. So please bear that in mind when you're watching. With all that said, let's crack on with it, because I've got a lot of work to do. We're making good progress. I'd say we've broke the back of it. We're nearly halfway. These two happy souls reckon we're not even halfway yet, but I'm being optimistic as ever. Yeah, so we've got a massive amount out the front. Probably going to be 2 grabs realistically, to be honest, which is obviously going to cost more money, but it is what it is. It's got to be done. They're doing very well at getting it all piled up high, because obviously the grab lorry can only come a certain distance back. So the more we can get towards the front of the drive, the better. So yeah. Come on, little helper, back we go. Right, let's carry on digging. Got a lot out. You can see just how much depth we're having to take out of this. So you've got a good 600 mil at least that we're having to take down, which has been a bit of a nightmare and has caused me a bit of a problem with getting rid of it all. So we've got this huge pile out here, which has been expertly stacked. But what I need to do is basically get this stone in here. So what I'm going to do is dig out, so my patio will come to here approximately. So I'm going to dig all this area out and basically just dump it in the middle for now, and then I'm going to get that stone in, so at least some of it is out of the way and into here. I can also get that bit graded off up there and get the stone in up there as well, and then just basically grab some more pile it all up in here in the centre because this is where the lawn's going to be in the middle. So obviously no stone needs to go there for now. I will be putting some drainage stone in though, because I've learned that mistake before. And what that will enable us to do is get more soil out here once that stone is all gone and in there. So that is why I've randomly moved down here and started doing this bit. Let's carry on. That is the end of the first day. We've done pretty well. I've got all this area leveled here. We're down to where we need to be, so this is all good. Obviously I need to still grade all that back, and this is what I was talking about the pile that I'm making for now. So what I'll do in the morning is basically start getting some of this stone out into here so I can get the whole area roughly where I need it to be. I'm not going to go too mad because obviously there's going to be machinery driving in and out of here, so it's going to get muddled up a little bit. I'm just going to get it somewhere near, and that will do for now, and then I can get this bit graded off better so we're somewhere near where we need to be. And hopefully that will pretty much swallow the majority of the stone in this area and here. So that will mean then we can get the rest of this soil out here. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll do that. I reckon we could do it. I reckon there's going to be at least 3 grabs though, which I was not anticipating. But hey ho, right. I'm going to go have some Saturday night pizza and maybe even an alcohol-free beer because I'm wild. See you in the morning. It's another beautiful day, literally is. Very, very nice. It's Sunday, so I'm really going to annoy the neighbours today. Sorry. Right then, come to a bit of a grinding halt. We've got a lot of it out, so all that's left in here is this pile. There's a small amount still to dig out here, but all I'm doing is just digging out and piling up, so it seems a bit of a waste of time to be honest. So we've got the stone in, it's just a rough coating. We're somewhere near where we want to be. There is still a bit more to go on though, and obviously this path needs to come out wider once this is all done, and then the area up there needs to all be done as well. I reckon probably another 4 tons should do it. Out here, this is why we come to the grinding halt. We have reached the end of our boards. There is a tarmac drive under here. I don't want to trash it any more than it already is. You may notice these tarps over the top as well. It's due to rain tomorrow, and grab lorries, if you don't know, grab lorries go by weight. They can carry 16 tons, I think it is. So obviously if the soil is saturated with water, it's going to weigh more. So little handy tip, cover it over like that, keeps it dry, so when they do come to grab it they can hopefully take a bit more. So my plan is to get them to obviously take a load from the front, but also to grab me a bit of a channel down this side so I can get the digger around there and pull it towards the front of the drive, and then enable me to get some more of that out here. They're coming Tuesday. Hopefully by the end of Tuesday night I'll have all that out there, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, 1 more grab, but I reckon it's going to be 3 unfortunately, but it is what it is. So that's it. I'm gonna not annoy the neighbours anymore. I will leave it at that, and bank holiday Monday will be nice and quiet and peaceful for everybody, and then back to it. Right, see you soon. Right, after getting all this area flattened and adequately prepared, it was time to start thinking about the drainage and the sleepers. There's been a few little bits that have gone on, so I will fill you in now. There is the sump trap. So this is going to take all the water from the land, basically going into this land drain, which is the pipe is here. We're going to use the sleepers, which are over there, which will run around here and form our retaining walls. So that will go across there, and then that will drain into this silt trap. Obviously, you know what we need the silt trap for because of any silt. So that will collect in this handy little bucket in there, and we can just lift that out and collect that. Also, what we're going to have is these slot drains. Some of them were damaged, but shout out to a drainagesuperstore.co.uk. Give those a little look. They gave me some extra ones back, which was very, very generous, which is also going to help me out, which I'll explain a bit more about that later. So basically, yeah, we're going to have these slot drains which are going to run around the perimeter of the patio area all the way around here, and then they are also going to drain out into this silt trap. Because it is groundwater, there may be a bit of debris in there or whatever. I'm not too fussed about it, but just about braces, it's going to go into that silt trap. What it is going to mean is, because that is where our water is going to go out of, I haven't got the space to come out of the bottom of these slot drains. So these slot drains can filter out or can exit the water one of two ways, so either from the side or from the bottom. So ideally I wanted to do it from the bottom. These are going to sit approximately here, at about that height. So what I would need to do is get a 90-degree bend like this, which would sit on the bottom of this echo. So you knock one of these out, you get a special bracket which fits on there, and then that goes into 110mm, which fits into here, and then that would then go under the ground and run out to my outlet over there. Unfortunately, I haven't got the depth to do that, so I'm going to have to come out the end here, which means that I'm not going to be able to go to where I wanted, which was originally that side inlet here. I was going to come into this and then drop straight in, but I'm not going to be able to do that, so I'm going to have to reassess things slightly. So I've got my perforated pipe which is going to run along here and come into this silt trap, but what I'm going to do is terminate that perforated pipe here, and then I'm going to put one of these T-pieces that is going to sit here like so. Excuse me, I'm a bit messy in my own garden, which is very unlike me, but everything's everywhere. So right, this T-piece will sit here like this, then the perforated pipe will come down and enter into here. This drainage will sit here, and then the outlet will go straight into that. There are going to be sleepers here, so this will butt right up to the sleeper and then come right into this joint here. So this will finish right up to the sleeper, and then that will discharge into here, and then we'll come down here with solid pipe down and into that. That does mean this area here is not going to have the land drain behind it, but I'm not too fussed. I think in the grand scheme of things there's only going to be a small amount here which is actually going to drain into this area, so I think with all that covered I think we'll be fine. I may drill a few little holes down, just fill with pea gravel, just to add as a little bit extra drainage just in case, because last thing I want is loads of water seeping through under the patio or back into into the grass area, which is going to be here. I don't want any of that to happen and cause any bogginess, so I may just do that. Bit of bottom braces just to make sure that it's all covered. So here we've got my downpipe which comes down here and then goes out that way. So what I've done, there was originally this 90 which just went onto the pipe there, and then this little piece here which is sat on top. So what I've done is obviously remove this and replaced it with this nice T-piece, so my downpipe can continue to go back in there and filter off there, and then I've put in this 90-degree bend which brings us nicely to our silt trap. So any water then that comes from the garden will just go straight into the silt trap. Any silt will be gathered in the bottom in that bucket, and then the fresh water will just come straight out and go straight out into the drainage as normal. I was going to go with oak sleepers as I mentioned before, but the price of them was astronomical. As you all know, timber prices have gone through the roof at the minute, so I managed to get these for £24 each from Travis Perkins, which was very good. I was very impressed with that price. So what I have done is started painting these up with some bitumen paint. Bitumen does need 2 coats, so what I'm doing is basically getting the first coat on them, and then once they're in I can then paint the whole backs while it's in place in situ. You'll notice as well that I have done the edges. The reason for that is obviously it's all well and good doing the back, but timber does shrink and expand and isn't going to sit flush with each other perfectly at all times. So if any water does get through, it's just a little bit of an extra protection for these sleepers, just to try and improve the longevity of their life. I haven't gone right the way to the front because otherwise you're going to see the black line on the face of it. I'm not really going to be doing much with these. I'm just going to leave them as they are for now. Obviously in the future when they do weather a bit more I might stain them, paint them, whatever, but for now I just want to leave them as they are. So that's why I haven't come right to the front. You're going to have an issue with water penetration here, but there's only so much you can do, isn't there? Right, so I've mentioned before that these sleepers are going to go across here, and I'm going to have some posts which are going to hold them up. These are those posts, so they're basically just a universal beam, literally like that. I've got these from Prototype Fabrications, and it's literally just a 152 beam. About that much will be buried underground, and then the rest of it, my sleeper will just slot in here like that. Slot in there and then sit on my little brackets that I've got, which I'll show you in a second. And then what that does then, that provides some extreme rigidity and stops any force on the back pushing these sleepers forward. A lot of people do just sit them on the ground, you know, sit them on a bed of concrete or whatever and just sort of build it all together and sort of hope. I'm not too fussed. It is a bit over the top, to be totally honest, because there's not massive a land against it, but just to be sure, there's going to be 3 across here, and then I think there's going to be 1 at the back. That's how it works out. And then I've also got this one here, which is a corner piece. So this one is interesting. So I'm sure you can tell by how this works. So basically there's going to be a piece which comes in this way, and then a piece which comes in this way. And that's it, that forms your corner. So easy as that. Again, this will just be buried in the ground, and then the sleepers can then slot into it, and jobs are good in. I'm going to paint them. I've got some matte black paint to go on there. I thought the black would look quite nice with the brown. We're going to go for I think it's silver grey for the fences, because these are already pretty silvery anyway, so I thought that'd be the easiest to cover. We're going to paint that back one as well. You're probably not going to see any of that, to be honest, once the structure's up at the back, but you may see a bit of the top over there. So I'm just going to paint that anyway, just gives it a bit of extra protection. So in my little box of tricks, the last thing I'll show you before I go and have my dinner, because it is late, are these. So these are what I was talking about. So these are basically going to be concreted into the ground, like that, obviously into the ground though. And then what happens is the sleeper sits like that on them. So what this will enable me to do is set these across here. Obviously I'll set my string line up and set them all the way across and round here. Set my string line up and the laser level, and then I can laser these and string them so they're all perfectly straight and they're all the same height. So once these are concreted in, I know then I can just sit my sleeper on top of these like that, and these will be bang on level all the way around the garden. Just thought that was quite an easy thing, because we got the RSJs there. The sleepers will just slot down the middle of it, but by putting them on these, it just means that I know exactly that these are going to just be able to drop straight in, sit on that, I'll screw them in the back, and then this will be bang on level, no issues. So there's going to be 2 of these per sleeper all the way around the perimeter, and then obviously I can screw into it as well to hold that bottom one in place, well in place. And then I've also got some of this banding, which is going to go at the back of them as well, just to hold them all together. Again, they're not going to move anywhere, but it's a bit of bout and braces as usual. Right, so we're all flaunched in. I've done it up to the manufacturer's recommendations, just to make sure that is nice and solid and not going anywhere. There's plenty of concrete around this now, so I'm just going to leave this to go off. I did a nice wet mix so I could get it around the back easy and get it all nicely in and tamped in, so there's no air bubbles or anything like that in there. That is all looking good now. My pipe work's in as well, so I'm happy with all that. Just need to tighten that joint up there, push that in a minute. So next up, what I'm going to do is just get this filled with pea gravel. Then I can put some slightly larger aggregate over the top of it, and then that's it. This section can be used to get in and out of, fortunately, because there's going to be a lot of that tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to have help. We're going to hopefully get all of our beams in, our steels and our little posts for the sleepers, and maybe even get some of the sleepers in as well. Fingers crossed, we'll see. In the next episode, I'm going to be showing you how I'll get this lot done. So installing these steels and getting the sleepers in. Hopefully you agree they look pretty good, and also they serve the purpose they're meant to, which is the most important thing. Right, if you're tackling any garden projects this summer, let us know in the comments below. If you have liked this video, please give us a big thumbs up, and if you're not yet subscribed, make sure you do. Take care guys, see you next time.